hot shower. I was even recommended a cold shower. Shout out to Vibe. She was like, get you a cold shower. That helps with your body if you're feeling achy and things like that, or your chakras or something. She said, I don't know. Y'all can go ask her if you want. She's the one with that. She's the professional with that. But yeah, you know what I'm saying. So things like that. Trying different techniques, to get your chakras unlocked and all that good stuff, energy, all that, especially if you're into spirituality. There's so many different rituals you can do in the morning to get your thoughts going, to get, even your heart feeling a certain way. So yeah, get you a nice fresh cup of coffee or something. But one thing that we have to try, regardless of what time of day it is we always talk about not talking to yourself negatively. Self-talk is the key. That's what's going to help you to stay productive. Good morning, good morning. Because our mind is like our inner child. Imagine your mind being a child. You have to speak to children with gentleness, right? I mean, of course, unless you're disciplining that child, you want to have a strong tone, but you don't want to be too strong. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with you. That's your inner child that you're talking to. So you can't disrespect your inner child. That doesn't make sense, because if you're a parent, or if you want to be a parent, are you going to disrespect your own kids? No, of course not. So treat your mindset like a child. Be gentle, be understanding, be compromising, be adaptable, try to adapt to things, and think of different methods that's going to nourish your inner child, that's going to nurture your inner child. You know what I mean? And feed your inner child with knowledge and respect and love and loyalty. Be loyal to who you are. And that's what we have to try to do. So I think if we kind of switch that image up, and not think of it so much as your inner thoughts, but an inner child, maybe that'll help us to be more gentle with ourselves. I know I'm gonna try that out, because maybe that imagery can get you to understand that the way you talk to yourself says everything about who you are, because you're literally telling yourself who you are through those words that you have with that inner dialogue. So if you're always beating yourself up and calling yourself names and making yourself feel bad, you're making changes for the worst. You're turning your mind into the most negative changes possible, or towards, excuse me, towards the most negative changes possible. And you're not giving your inner child or your higher self a fair chance to do what it needs to do to blossom, because I feel like your inner child blossoms into your higher self. It's like going from childhood into adulthood, and that's how we evolve each and every day. And I feel like this is my own theory, but I don't know. I'm not saying this is factual, but I feel like when bad things happen to us, like maybe traumatic experiences, it makes us go back to our inner child. Instead of having that higher self is a bit damaged, so it has to repair. And then the inner child comes back out, because it's like, you're regressing in a way, because you either breed a lot of fear from those experiences, you kind of feel like you don't really know what to do, scared like a child, and it's natural. But once you get the groove going, your higher self comes back out and is ready to tackle and dominate, you know what I mean? So and be productive. But yeah, so cut that negative self-talk out as much as possible, and identify those thoughts when they come to the surface, because honestly, it is a regular thing for most of us. I'm not going to say all of us, but a good majority of people talk to themselves like that anyways. And it's so often that it becomes like natural, and you don't even notice it, because it's that much, like you do it that often. So you tell yourself things like, I'm not good enough, or I can't do this, or I'm not capable, I'm not smart enough, or whatever. You always have something that you can't do, and I'm getting blown now. I'm in my zone now. With these shows. And we all have those moments. Even the most tough people, I always say, they have the best poker face, but that doesn't mean that they don't think these things like you do. It's just they don't show it. They don't wear it on their face. They don't wear their hearts on their sleeves, but that doesn't mean they don't know how to love someone, or they don't want to be loved. There's a lot of things we don't express openly, but that doesn't mean that we don't crave them or desire them, however you want to look at it. As a human being, we all need love. I don't care what anybody says. As a human being, we all need respect. We all need that self-confidence, that boost, that validation is necessary at times, so it's strange how we all think that we're too different. We're not that different. Like, we all have similarities in a way. Like, we're not the exact same people, of course not, but we all have similar interests for a reason. And we all have the fundamental things that are alike. Like I said, the love aspect and the self-confidence, the self-love, self-care. Like, we all need that, so that's something we just can't run away from because it's just our nature. So that's just something we have to accept, and we have to make changes in order to get these things, to attain these things. But like I said, try to identify those thoughts whenever they come about. And some people think negatively about their bodies or their skill sets or their ability to be loved. You know what I mean? It gets that deep. Good morning, good morning. You know, um, but it needs to be recognized. We have to be more conscious of that. And one clear way of releasing that negative self-talk, because a lot of times it comes from the past. Let go of the past. We talk about that so much because that is what keeps a lot of us from progressing forward, is the past. We are always stuck in the past. Not everyone, but like I said, a good majority. And realize that the past is something that just cannot be changed. Like, we have the ability to change so much if we really put our minds to it and our energy towards it. But the past is something you cannot change. It's happened already. It's already been out there into the universe, into the world. It's already a part of history. It's done. Been there, done that. Like, it's time to move on from that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that it's a new day. It's new energy. It's just so much to do, so much to see. Why are we living in the past? Why not focus on today and worry about the changes for your future instead, which is being productive, like I said. um because you make life so much more difficult, and you look at your failures, and it starts to like breed these false beliefs, and it makes your experiences toxic in a way because you're worried about the wrong things. You know what I'm saying? So most people hold on to the past and they cling to the things that aren't relevant to their lives anymore. And you have to realize nothing in this world is permanent. Not even our problems. Our problems are not forever. Our problems are temporary. You know what I'm saying? So don't let one bad chapter or a couple bad chapters, I don't even care if it's a novel of bad chapters in the past, ruin your present and the future. You know what I'm saying? So don't even allow that to be a thing. Inhabit getting up early, like I said, learning to relax, and taking time out to rest your mind, rest your body, and get things done the way they're supposed to be. you know um we all need time to refresh ourselves, and it's natural. It's something that we just have to regulate, you know what I mean? Because you can't push all the time. You got to know when to sit down and call it a day. Sometimes take a nap sometimes and just relax. I'm getting blown now. I'm in my zone now. With these shows. Drink lots of water. Drinking water helps us in so many different ways because it helps us to stay balanced. And it helps you to stay hydrated. And when you're hydrated, you think better and you act out better. Oh my God. Good morning. Oh, snap. But yeah, so it helps with activities like digestion, and it helps you with your blood circulation and all kinds of good nutrients. Like I said, your body temperature, all that good stuff. It just keeps your health in good standing. And then, you always want to choose the simple ways of living. Simplicity is everything. Less is more. Keep that in mind. You don't have to do the most all the time. Less is definitely more in a lot of cases. But I get that we want to do the most at times because it makes us feel like we are accomplishing a lot that way, which is great. You should get out there and be a go-getter for sure. But at times, less is definitely more. And simplicity is something that helps you to welcome change even better. It's not something that you should want to avoid. You definitely should want to give in to simplicity. You don't want to live a complex life. You know what I mean? And that's the other side of the spectrum, is making things complicated. And we do that enough with our anxiety and our stress levels. That already complicates everything because, like I said, it starts to breed certain thoughts that aren't real, you know. So understanding it'll help you to be more content with yourself and where you are already, and it'll help you to waste less time and go after things that make sense. And it just helps you to live a much freer and happier life. So always believe also that something wonderful is going to happen to you. You know, you always have to have optimism, because that's essential for success. You know, it's not, don't think of it as being naive to feel that good things are happening to you or good things will happen to you. It's not wise to always assume the worst. That doesn't make sense either. You know what I mean? When you really think about it. Because if you always believe that you're going to fail, how do you think that you're going to succeed? How do you think that works? You know, so you have to have that thought process of, okay, even though I don't know what's going on, I'm going to go into this with a good mindset, and whatever happens, happens, you know, and accept it on either side of the spectrum. And that's that, you know what I mean? That's all you can do. So just realize the reality of your thoughts and control your destiny. And especially if you're someone that thinks negatively naturally, you want to make the change to the other side and be optimistic instead, and kick that pessimism to the side. We always talk about that when we talk about self love and self care. We mention that the most because that is a part of caring about yourself. Like I said, that inner child does not like all of that negativity. That inner child is not going to go for all of that toxicity because that's all it is, you know? It's like feeding your child junk food and never feeding your child anything healthy and having a balanced diet for your child. That is irresponsible. You know what I mean? Like if you're not giving your child the proper vitamins, and no, I'm not literally trying to talk about children right now, but like I said in the beginning, inner child as in your inner self. I'm getting blown now. I'm in my zone now. With these shows. You know, but that comparison, yes, but you know you wouldn't do that to your child if you had one, or if you do have children. You're very careful what you allow them to eat, especially with the news and you know how everything has changed, you know. So that's the same way you have to be with social media and the people you keep around yourself, the company you keep, things like that. All of that speaks a lot to your inner child. It tells your inner child certain things, you know. So you want to be careful with that because I know you can't control what your friends say or what your family says or what your lover says, you know, because they're their own person. So if they say mean or hurtful statements, that's not something you can control. Of course not. But at the same time, you do have the control of how it affects you. Yeah. You know, because I think it was Eleanor Roosevelt. I'll always say this quote because I love this quote so much. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. So no one can hurt you without your permission in terms of your mentality. Like, of course, I always make the point physically, yeah, they can try to do that, physical harm to you, of course, but you can still try to defend yourself. But that's just, you know how that goes. There's levels to that. But your mentality, you have full permission over that, whether you accept what these people are saying or not. That is your right to consent, you know. So they can't make you feel low if you don't allow it. They can't make you feel like you don't matter if you don't allow it, you know. Or they can't label you unless you apply those labels to yourself in your life. You know, if you give into those labels, you're giving them permission to have power over you. You're giving them the permission to accept those things, you know what I mean? um so yes, like I said, always believe that something better is going to happen or something good is going to happen, because that's the only way you're not going to allow people to control you or things to control you, because you're not thinking that way. You know, when you don't think that way, you don't feel comfortable with that, so you're going to fight that. But if you already feel that way about yourself and these people are saying it, you're going to take it as confirmation instead of taking it as an attack or as something that you should not accept, you know, because that's not something you should accept. Um, so and realize too, how you speak to yourself is how other people speak to you too. So we always talk about how if people see you disrespecting yourself, they're gonna disrespect you too, because they're gonna think you don't care about yourself. So why should they? You know, same thing with love and all that. The same principles apply to everything. If you don't love yourself, how are you going to love someone else, and how are you going to expect anyone else to love you too, you know? Because they just they give you value, they give value to what you allow them to, you know? So if they see that you're highly valuable in terms of how you treat yourself, that sets the price on your value. How you talk to yourself, that is your price range for your value. So if you want to be luxurious and you want to be like Gucci and all that Chanel and all that stuff, talk to yourself like that then. You know what I mean? Have inner dialogue that's rich in mind. Be rich in mind before you can be rich in spirit. That's the only way you can be rich in spirit. And once you're rich in mind, body, and spirit, then you'll actually, you'll literally start to have money flourish into your life. It's that simple, manifestation. So yes, and I always think it's better to be rich in mindset than anything, because no matter what happens around you, it doesn't shake you, it doesn't break you, because you already have that rich mindset. You already feel like you're living the life you want internally. So whatever happens externally, it's like it's a piece of cake compared to the battle that you have inside of you every day. Trust me. That battle is harder than anything else you're going to experience in the outside world. The battle with yourself every day to do better, to be better, to feel better, man, that is crazy. You know what I mean? So that is something that we really got to take into consideration. Not everybody is blessed with a strong mindset. Not everyone is blessed with self-confidence. A lot of people don't have that. So if you achieve that, or you achieved it already, that is as rich as it gets. No amount of money can ever touch that, because it's not an everyday occurrence. It's not something that everybody's able to attain unless they really, really, really work hard at it. So also become a good listener. A good way to make changes is to take other people's opinions and their thoughts into consideration, because like I had said yesterday, everybody's opinion is valuable. Even if you don't agree with it, you can agree to disagree, but it's still valuable because they're a person. They have a right to speak just like you do. So we got to stop like ignoring people or not acknowledging what they say or how they feel, because they're a person too, And who's to say that they're not speaking real knowledge that can help you? Like, even, I shouldn't say real, like as if it's not real either way. It's always going to be real knowledge. It's just that you might not agree with it, but it's still knowledge at the end of the day, because that's something that person learned. You know what I mean? So it's valid. It may not be valid to you, but whoever else is listening could learn from it. So we can all learn in some. I'm getting blown now. I'm in my zone now. With these shows. So that's why I think it's good. Like, for instance, with the show, what I say may resonate a certain way, and then what City says resonates entirely different, but it resonates somehow. So it's valuable for me and him. You get what I'm saying? And even you guys in the comments, what you guys say is very valuable. So it's the same thing. We're all having some sort of dialogue, and nobody's opinion is not valuable. Everybody, it's on the same playing field. It's even to me, so that's how I look at it. So it should be that way when you're listening, because you're open to changes that way. You're receiving other people's energy. So when you do that, excuse me, oh my gosh, it's cutting up again. Here we go. Um, when you do that, like I said, it's almost like you're inviting change into your life. You're inviting, other energies to come in, but you pick and choose the right ones, of course. You don't just let everybody's energy in, but you pick and choose the right one. But it shows that you are versatile. You know what I mean? You can get in where you can fit in, anywhere. Um, so yeah, or you shouldn't try to fit in. I always say make your own crowd. Forget that. Don't We're not trying to fit in nowhere. We're making our own movements. We don't do that. So yeah, scratch that. And another key thing is don't procrastinate. I know this one is really hard because a lot of us have a lot going on, and there are times where we really mean to get to something, but we just never get to it because we've had a really long day. Some have children, some babysit, whatever your job is, or everybody's doing different things. A lot of people are family oriented, and it's just a lot of pressure on you. I get it. You know what I mean? Like, we're all leaders in our own way. We're all taking care of the camp in our own way, as I like to say. So I understand that procrastination seems very inviting, and it seems like a great idea at times, because you're like, oh, I'll just get to it tomorrow, or I'll get to it in an hour, and you never do. Let's try to change that. No matter what year it is, that should be a lifelong process trying to change procrastination, because that is something that is so hard to run away from. You know what I mean? Like, that is something that's very. I'm getting blown now.